What's up guys, my name is Guillaume and welcome to Thomann's Guitars and Basses. Today I get the chance to talk with the immense Cory Wong. You may know him from bands like Vulfpeck, Fearless Flyers and many other projects with countless incredible musicians. Before we get into that conversation though, please take a second to subscribe to the channel if you like that kind of content, it helps us a lot. I also want to take that chance to thank Wampler FX and Boutique Amp Distribution for making that video possible. They're the ones who connected us with Cory, so if you're not familiar with Wampler, they make some of the best pedals out there. There will be a link in the description to all of their stuff. Go check it out, please. And now without further ado, let's catch up with Cory Wong. Dude, how are you?
I'm great, man. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad. It's actually my first day back into the office after my my Christmas break, Christmas holiday.
Where are you located?
I'm in Germany. So like the shop is in Germany, and I live just nearby, close to Nuremberg.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Cool. So we're like half an hour away from that.
Nice.
Next time you're in Nuremberg, just come say hi. We've got a bunch of cool toys for you to try out.
All right, I'm in.
That's awesome. All right, first off, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy 2021. My first question is, how are you and what have you got going on right now? How did you start your year?
I have a new project coming out called Cory and the Wongnotes, and it's an album and a show. So I kind of created this variety show as a way, I guess, to promote my album.
Yeah.
And it was the one album I was really supposed to make last year, but, well, I did make it last year. I recorded it in August.
Okay.
We formed a little bubble and, found a way to make it work for everybody and be safe and not have any COVID cases. So that's great. But we were supposed to do it in April and then May and then June and then July. We just kept pushing it 1 month at a time to see if this thing would. And then finally, in July, we just said, all right, everybody's being safe. What if we do the thing and figure out a way to make this work? And then we did it. So I did a bunch of albums last year because I was here at home in my little home space, and I had so much time to write and record.
You
and
really
I produced.
Yeah. You really put out an insane amount of stuff.
I know. I kind of can't believe it. It was fun though, because I was writing, recording, producing, and releasing kind of in real time.
Yeah. So I really I'm going back to the days of Larry Long and Bunkers and your time there, and even just then up to now with Vulfpeck and Fearless Flyers. Who would you say was most instrumental into you finding your sound? If you had to pinpoint that one person that allowed you to get there.
I don't think there's really one person. It would be a combination of probably Michael Bland in the Bunkers sort of thing.
Yeah.
Jack Stratton from Vulfpeck. He really helped me nail down my sound. And pretty much all the guys in Vulfpeck. There's there's certain things that you do that your friends kind of let you know what's magnetic or what's sticky.
Yeah.
And my friend Ben Rector, when I was playing for him for a couple years, and that whole band, like Cody Fry, Steve Gould, Kevin McIntyre, that first year I was playing with Ben, I started to kind of find my own. I started to find my voice, I guess. Yeah. And it was sometimes and it wasn't because of they said, hey, here's this thing. It was more I was exploring different things, and people respond when they hear something magnetic, right? And when they hear something unique. And I was just paying attention to which things I was doing that were getting a certain type of response, or that people would notice, oh, that feels very you. When I was in college, I had one teacher, my mentor, Andres Prado. Yeah. He's from Lima, Peru. But he was in Minneapolis for St. Paul for a handful of years while I was in college, and he was my mentor. He was always really encouraging me, look, find out what's unique about you. Okay, let's do the Pat Metheny thing. All right, let's go. Let's do it. Let's do the Coltrane thing. All right, let's go. Let's do this. And we'd go down these different roads, but then he just said, find your way of doing that, though. I didn't understand what it meant for me in the jazz realm at the time, because that's kind of what I wanted to do.
Oh, really?
But it just wasn't me. So the whole time I was trying to find me in the context of playing jazz, it just never came out of me because it wasn't really me. It's what I thought I wanted. It's like, oh, this is this new level where you peak to this thing and all of a sudden you're this jazz cat that whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not a hierarchy. You know, genres and different styles of music, there's not a it's not like this, once you master this one, you're the best. And the reality for me is that, you know, I didn't find my voice until I turned 30.
It's also really interesting for me because you've stated in the past that you're coming from, you know, punk rock and Red Hot Chili Peppers and Green Day and all of that stuff. And you're a player that started in Minneapolis and did the Nashville thing, the LA thing. You've played churches and rock gigs and fun gigs. And but your sound is your sound still in that. So I was wondering, is there like a Cory Wong secretly sort of riffing 90s punk rock when he's alone at home? Or is it just like it was a phase and in your way of figuring yourself out?
If you only knew how many 90s playlists are on my phone.
Yes!
Yeah. My Spotify is stocked with the 90s alt rock radio hits, 90s alt rock.
That's good to hear.
B-sides, you know. And you know, I'm an MTV kid. I grew up on MTV, you know, and that was kind of my babysitter. And I still love a lot of that music. I don't listen to as much like current punk rock. But the stuff, I mean, I think for any of us, the music of our childhood and our adolescence, there's an inherent nostalgia to it that helps us to feel young, that helps revitalize something inside of us that we sometimes need to remind us why we started in the first place. Yeah. So yeah, I'll drum along to old Blink-182 albums, nice, trying to be Travis Barker, and I'll play bass along with old Green Day and Chili Peppers albums. I mean, I still listen to Chili Peppers. I mean, they're one of my favorite bands of all time. A lot of these bands I still love, but you know, in a way that reminds me of when I was in 7th grade, sitting down to learn the Aeroplane bass solo. Yeah, and I still remember the feeling of how upset I was that they cut it from the radio edit.
Oh man, isn't that the worst? When they do that in radio edits and you're just waiting for that moment, that pinnacle, and then no.
Gosh, I know.
You have played with some of the most incredible musicians on earth. And I've always been curious to know what was your approach to playing bands and playing songs that were driven by other instruments and other monster players like Nate Smith or Joe Dart. And how did you compromise that to be your best self as a guitar player and to be happy with your guitar playing and at the same time leaving sort of that spotlight to Joe or Nate or whoever that person is, you know? How do you compromise this?
Anytime I play music, I'm thinking about a handful of things. And as long as I am in tune with those things, pun intended, it helps me understand and fit in any situation. And I think most mature and experienced musicians understand this sort of thing. And some immature and inexperienced ones just kind of get it inherently somehow. I had to learn it. But things I'm always thinking about is role and function. So what is my role and what is my function? I think of those as two different things because they can be, you can break it down into two different things. Just like playing in time can be your awareness of time and your execution of time. So they can be, you can break them apart and we could go way deep into it. But I think understanding my role within the context of a song or a band is a really important thing. So my role in Vulfpeck is different than my role in Cory Wong, the band.
Yeah.
And it's different than my role in the Fearless Flyers. It's different than my role when I play for other artists, that it's their project and I'm a hired gun to come play or whatever. And my function then is musically. Like my role, I think of as a big picture, how I fit into the thing. The function is what does this song or album need, or I guess actually just this song part, section, what does it need in order to execute the objective? And this particular tune might be one that is meant to share the gospel of Joe Dart and Nate Smith to the world. You gave those examples, right? And I need to understand my function in that context of I'm going to play something that will enhance, like, okay, let's just say it's Nate and Joe playing. What can I do that will not take away focus from that, but enhance what's happening? It might, like guitar players might pay attention to what I'm doing because that's what we do, but what can enhance the musical situation and what needs to be the focal point? How much rhythmic density is there already there? And do I need to add to it? Do I need to lock in with it? Or do I need to go on the other side of the spectrum? And rhythmically, sonically, harmonically, chord density, whatever, all those things, I'm thinking, okay, and I do this in my writing as well. It's like, okay, this song has a lot of rhythmic complexity. Let's make the harmonic aspect of it quite simple, or the melodic aspect of it quite simple. So that way it kind of balances out. You're not asking too much out of the audience as far as just the song itself. If the melody is really angular and it's a little more complicated, then maybe the rhythm will be a little more simple to kind of give something to stay at home and watch the kids, right? You know, and I think that same sort of principle applies just in function in band or like playing in different things. I have this picture. This was a fun night. You mentioned playing with different people. There was this one gig that I did, and there were a bunch of drummers that sat in this night at this jazz club. This is Charlie Watts and Steve Smith. They both came and sat in on this gig that I was doing, and it was insane.
Yeah, I bet.
A completely different drummers.
Yeah.
Right? This is years ago. This is, I don't know, 6 years ago, something like that. And before I was Cory Wong, right? Like that now. Nobody knew I was. I was playing this local gig in Minneapolis. Granted, it was like Chuck Leavell and all the guys from the Rolling Stones that are not the original Rolling Stones guys, right? They have like a huge band now. So it was they all were all doing this gig, and Keith Richards didn't want to play guitar or couldn't play guitar for this gig. So they called me. I don't know why. I was in Minneapolis. I was playing this gig, and hey, I freaking crushed it. All right, I'm not gonna lie, I did crush it. I prepared as well as I could, and I really learned the material.
Yeah.
And it was a super fun gig. But okay, Steve Smith is there because he has a gig in town the next day. So he comes. He's like, oh, at set break, blah blah blah. He knows all the guys and whatever. He's gonna come up and sit in. Okay. My role is very different now. Steve Smith is sitting in. It needs to be focused on him, and we need to let him guide the thing. And if he tosses it over to me to play a solo, we did like some blues form, something kind of interesting, and then it had some interesting rhythmic elements. So, okay, if he's going to take things, if he's going to play over the bar line and play this stuff that's going to, is it going to lose the audience's thing? Okay, I'm going to... I'll find a pattern that complements what he's doing, but give a little bit of foundation. And every once in a while, go with him over the bar line or this sort of thing to kind of make it feel like, and then it lands. And then all of a sudden, it's the tension and release. But he had enough of the tension and release in his own phrasing that I could kind of keep the I could keep the train moving along.
Yeah.
But he had enough interesting stuff happening, and the piano player was playing this really angular stuff that, you know, my role in that was very different. When Charlie comes up, he wanted to come in and not just assert himself. He was playing just chill. He was playing with brushes, and I was playing I was standing right next to him, and it was fun because it was just, all right, we're the ones kind of creating the atmosphere of the thing, and then the cats out front were doing their thing, and it was really fun. And in those moments, you recognize, yeah, these guys are giants, right? And you let them, the speed of the leader is the speed of the team in a lot of things, you know. And in this case, they're going to be the focal point. They're sitting in, right? So naturally, there's going to be more focus. But we're part of this band that's actually doing the gig. So how do I adapt but still fit into my role as somebody who's part of this band who's doing the gig? But then the function musically of, okay, these guys are leading the charge. I played with Gene Simmons from Kiss, and that's a totally different thing. He's asking a certain thing out of me. I need you to come out and be a complete rock star when you play the guitar solo on Rock and Roll All Night, or whatever that song is. Yeah. And I did it. And I played a certain type of guitar. I was wireless. I came out, did the rocker thing. I played that role, and I played that function because that's what he asked me to do. But when it's time to lay in the cut for the rest of the tune, I blend in with the thing. And my role and my function is very different in those situations. But when you play with, you know, these kind of giants or these legends, these stars, if you prepare your instincts and you prepare musically for what you objectively know is going to happen, then you just need to execute. And the same goes for, it's no different than any other gig. And my philosophy has always been, the way you do the small things is the way you do the big things, or whatever. I don't know. There's some better quote like that out there. But the true reason behind what you do needs to be deeper than that. It needs to be a calling. It needs to be what you're meant to do in life. And
serve the music, serve the song.
Yeah, if it's respect for the craft, it's respect for yourself, it's respect for the people around you, because that might be their biggest gig they've ever done.
Yeah.
You know, that's a huge lesson to be learned. But also the other side thing of that is, beyond who's in the audience, a lot of times it's who else is on the bandstand. You know, we're often performing for each other as well. And everybody's feeling each other out on stage. And one of the things that oftentimes happens, and how I've gotten a lot of the gigs in my career, is, well, there wasn't a ton of people at this gig, but the bass player who was on the gig with us happens to be the music director for this huge event that's going on that has this and this and this.
It's a gear channel. We're gonna get there. No, I know.
It's a gear channel. So
I know what they're expecting. I know what they want. I know what you guys need.
They've all just been fast forwarding this whole time until
like, all right, history, advice, and all right, there we go.
Yeah, gear, yeah.
You obviously put out your plugin suite with Neural DSP, and that has been incredibly successful in so many
fun
styles, even just outside of position 4. You know, you've got like the Rubia Massage just driving some insane tones out of that, and just and at the same time you play effects, you play Wampler pedals, you play amps, you play tube amps. Now that the Quad Cortex from Neural DSP is out, can we see you switch to that while playing live? Or is it still going to be more of a studio tool for you, or just like on the go, anywhere I am, I can plug in straight and have my sound?
I'll always have a combination of things.
Yeah.
Like for a long time, so I have a Quad Cortex right here.
I don't. Do we have it? No, not
Check
yet.
this out. You know what else?
It's upstairs. Ah, okay. Sorry.
You know what else they did special for me is they put my little logo on the back.
That is so cool.
You know, pretty fun. It's crazy. I mean, those guys are insane. So Yes, I will use the Quad Cortex live. I'll use it in the studio. I've been using it on recordings and stuff, and I've been using my plugin.
Yeah.
My plugin eventually will be on. You can, once you've bought the plugin, you can put it on. So if you buy my plugin now, you will be able to import it into the Quad Cortex. Sick.
So sick.
Oh my gosh. So I'm stoked about that because I put these guys through the ringer on the tone, right? And I absolutely swear by the plugin. It's incredible for. So my thing was with the plugin, I needed to 100% nail my tone. And my clean tone has many different facets. The way that my tone works in Vulfpeck is different than Fearless Flyers and different with Cory Wong. And also different for when I do a lot of session work. So I use this plugin. You know, I just did a bunch of session work for some cats in Nashville, LA, New York, all sorts of session work all the time. I'm doing remote sessions. And I needed to make sure that my plugin, the archetype Cory Wong, nailed my stuff, but also just standard, really good pop, singer-songwriter guitar tones, all of that sort of stuff, and the blues sort of thing. And of course, the rock cats now like it too, which is cool. Yeah. But then also, because I'm a bass player, I play bass on a lot of my own stuff. I wanted it to work for bass. So I put them through the ringer to get this thing right. So of course, now that I can bring it around with me, I'm going to use it. But also, I love amps. Yeah. And I like pedals and stuff too. So I will probably have 3 rigs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a pedals rig. I'm going to have a hybrid rig where I have the Quad Cortex plus a couple other things. Yeah. And then I'll probably have one rig where it's just the Quad Cortex. Because it fits in my backpack.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of these. And now the processing power in that unit is just insane. So why wouldn't you go with that?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't like, I'm not talking trash about any other companies, but you know, I've had literally all of the other floorboard modelers. Yeah. And when I say literally all, I mean all of them. And the rack mount ones too. You know, so actually I never had an Axe 3. I had the Axe 2, AX8, FMA, you know, those are great. They have great tones, but there's something deeper in the Quad Cortex that, gosh, I just can't. It's the most such.
Everyone's going. Every guitar player. Sorry.
Yeah, it's so cliche to talk about these things in these esoteric, subjective terms. Like it's got such this deep thing. I feel the thunk. I feel the squishiness in the top end. You know, but oh my gosh, I found myself doing it. Yeah. Oh, it's got the round, bubbly top end, the squishy, bubbly mid-range, and the thunk to the bottom end in just the right way. And when I dig in, it responds to me. It's like it's breathing. You know, it's, oh my gosh, I can't stand, you know, the forums, they're full of that. But it's this sort of thing. And yeah, I like this, but also sometimes I like plugging into it. I've been doing amp shootouts. Here's a fun gear thing. It's also not very fun. And I'll tell you why.
Got me on my toes
because this amp is not expensive. I did a full-on amp shootout. 15 amps, right? You want to know what amp I absolutely loved the most? The DV Mark Raw Dog. The Eric Gales. The Eric Gales signature amp. Dude, this thing is insane.
I know, yeah.
I gotta, here, okay, it's right.
It's right there.
There. I have a little 2-rock 112 cab that I've been using it. And I have a couple different cabinets that, like I have a Supro cab. I have a DV Mark cab. And I have another one with a Jensen in it that's, you know, it gets a little more of the super reverby, twin reverby thing when I use the Jensen for obvious reasons. But for whatever reason, that amp, oh my gosh, it's insane. I don't get how they're doing it. I love that tone. It also is really lightweight, can fit in my backpack. So maybe even just Quad Cortex the DV Mark. That's what I've been using lately. I mean, I use a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever. I like having gear too. At the same time, I'm a complete gear snob and a complete not gear snob, because the only thing I'm snobby about is the tone's got to be right.
It's got to be there, right? Yeah, no, I get it.
Tone's got to be there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you need to spend a lot of money to get there.
Yeah.
Whew!
That was beautiful. Like, that was exactly what everyone watching that video needed. It's whatever works for you, works for you. No matter what it is, no matter how much it costs. If that's the sound, then that's the thing you need.
Yeah.
I do that. So, is that all of these changes in rigs and everything that you've been trying out for the...
Yeah.
What do you realize now in retrospect could be missing from your arsenal in terms of like things that you would use, like things you'd like to incorporate in your standard setup and that you would like to do that you'd like to have in the future? Say,
you know what I've never used?
Go.
I have never used a fuzz pedal. Not once. Why? I don't know. I've just been like tube screamer kind of guy, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna dive into some fuzz.
But that's
I
the
gotta dive
title
into
of that
some
video.
fuzz.
From now on, this is the title of that video. Cory Wong has never used a fuzz.
Well, it's gonna change. Now it's gonna change. I mean,
sure.
I didn't understand how fuzz fit into what I do.
I understand that.
And now when I listen to certain things, I realize, oh, fuzz is perfect for this. Fuzz is actually better than a TS-808 sound, or fuzz is better than whatever, certain distortion sounds. And actually, I was never in love with distortion. I tried the Abasi, the Thomann Abasi archetype, and the distortion in there, I think it's the Pathos, or...
Yeah, it's the Pathos Overdrive.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yep.
that thing is like, oh, this just unlocked distortion for me in a new way on my Strat. For whatever
New
reason,
playable character.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what it felt like. Like, whoop. Like on the Stratocaster, that to me all of a sudden feels like the right tone, whatever that means. For me,
for you, yeah.
with distortion, to work with what I do in my normal setup. So that was pretty cool.
That's it.
Yeah, but the fuzz, I'm trying to figure out, again, back to Jack Stratton.
Yeah.
He's the one that got me hip. He's like, check out this fuzz tone that John Mayer has. I think is it Crossroads or something? On his version of Crossroads.
He's had several. Crossroads is like definitely that cleanup kind of fuzz tone, the fuzz face thing going.
Is that
on.
Is that what pedal sound? Because there's some weird vintage pedal that we were looking.
The fuzz face circuit is the fuzz that's going to be like, it's the Hendrix thing, it's the SRV thing, the fuzz that you're going to use on your clean tone to have that super ice peaky sort of top end, super very bright, very present. As soon as you roll your volume back a little bit, and then you put it back on 10, and it's massive. And it's either that thing or like the other kind of fuzz that's super present in your sort of genre of music would be like the back pickup, sort of very scratchy kind of a fuzz. Not so much gain to it, but just that scratchiness that works on stuff that's really laid back. You know what? I'll email you my top 20, and then
email me just give me 10. Give me 10
all right.
fuzz tunes.
Absolutely.
That I need to dive into, and I'll get into it. But that's one gear thing that I need to.
That's cool.
I just, I need whatever. I'm fine without it, but I know that it's something that could unlock another character.
Exactly.
But the other thing is there's so many different tones,
Yeah.
and especially playing on different albums for different artists. It's like, I don't have a Leslie emulator in my plugin.
Yeah.
But I definitely use that sort of thing a lot.
Yeah.
Or different types of modulation effects that are not in my plugin, but but they're in the quad Cortex, and there are wonderful pedals out there that do those things.
I did. You know? We shot a video. We actually I'm gonna say I didn't edit it. Phil did. Phil is just there. So credits to Phil for editing a video. And I was using the Terraform, like the Wampler Terraform modulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy moly. But I mean, put that in one of the loops and be done with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been using the Ego Comp for a long time. That's a great compressor.
Yeah, there's some really cool pedals out there, some really inspiring stuff.
So this year, this project, Cory and the Wongnotes, is a variety show that I've been wanting to make for a long time. And I made an album, so it's 11 songs and 8 episodes for this show, where it's music, sketch comedy, interviews, kind of a bunch of different things, just to try something fun and try something new. So
that is so cool.
That's what I have going out. I just announced it, and the episodes start rolling out now, so it's really fun. I'm really excited about it.
Congratulations on that. I was just wondering, is that something that's bound to keep going in the future, or as soon as touring comes back, is back on the menu, then, we'll do some YouTube when we can, but I'm back to touring now, which is...
I think it depends. I think if I'm still having fun with it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
If people are connecting to it, and, honestly, transparently, if I end up making any money from it, that also would help.
That always factors somehow.
But the main thing for me is am I having fun doing it?
Yeah.
And does it seem like something that is uplifting and life-giving to other people as well? And if those things are in line, then I'm going to keep doing it. And even when touring is on the menu and the full buffet is being ravaged by my band and I, and we're out touring everywhere we can, if I'm still having fun doing YouTube videos, I'm still going to do it. And I'll find a creative way to keep doing it when I'm on the road. And there's plenty of fun things that I can do while I'm on the road or when I'm on tour with YouTube videos. And I already have I have a list of fun, creative ideas that I'm going to do. A lot of them take time to execute.
Yeah.
And, some of them are much more ambitious than others. But yeah, I'm going to keep doing stuff because I'm having fun doing it right now. And I don't know, it keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah, that's the spirit. That's the spirit.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything. Anyways, I'm looking forward to seeing that, and would really, really dig some sort of Fearless Flyers on tour vlog situation, because I absolutely adore Mark. He's been here before, he's been in that studio.
Yeah.
We've met at NAMM, and he's someone that I admire a lot too. So it'd be a lot of fun to have you two guys around here and just tour breweries, because he wasn't shy the first time. So I'd love to do some of that. But yeah, I think it's a beautiful sentiment and a nice way to wrap things up. I only have one thing left, and that was a rapid fire round, because I kind of like to do that. A or B.
Come at me with it.
Yeah. First off, Minneapolis or Los Angeles? Easy.
Oh, for music, LA.
Okay.
Easy. Nate
Smith or Michael Bland?
Come on, man. Why you got to do me like that? Why you got to do me like that? You can't, nah. Okay, both.
Both, that's fair. I didn't expect anything else, to be honest. Plug-in or tube amp?
If it's the archetype Cory Wong, it's the archetype Cory Wong.
That was obvious. Okay. If you could either never play guitar again or not listen to any new music again, which one would you choose? You could still listen to the old music, just not the new.
Does it mean my own music? Like if I can't create any new music either?
Well, not on guitar.
This isn't very rapid, my answer.
I mean, the question wasn't much.
This is far from rapid. Well, it's like hitting me at my core. Like I'm thinking about all my life decisions.
Yeah, it's hard to evaluate.
No, I'd give up the guitar. Easy.
Yeah.
I'd play bass. I've been wanting to play the bass for a long time anyways.
I get that. I definitely
or also just like produce music. I can produce and write music.
There's other ways. Yeah, it took me a while to come to that same conclusion though. So I'll excuse the not so rapid fire. All right. If you could fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck, which one would you choose?
Depending on the weapons I had, I would probably choose the one horse-sized duck.
I would be terrified. I wouldn't. I'll take the small horses any day.
Because a horse is... If you think about a horse being like 4 times the size of a human.
Roughly, yeah.
Now, you put those short legs, webbed feet, on a horse size. Like you make a duck that big. Sure, it's going to be fast, but I don't think it's going to be as fast as a horse. And I think it's clunkier because it's also wider. So I would think that if I get myself...
The beak
is tough. The beak is tough. But I would think Stone Age Cory, if I could get myself into a cave, that duck's not going to be able to get to me. And what I'll be able to do is if that duck is aggressive, starting to come into the cave, I'll be able to start slingshot and stuff. And maybe...
That's a good tactic. I'm just legitimately scared of ducks, so I would choose the tiny horses.
I mean, the tiny 100 of them though. That's like
that's many.
The other thing is, if that huge duck is just really dumb or has bad eyesight, I got a better chance.
You're counting on the duck having a bad eyesight.
Well, hey. You got to take all these things into consideration.
For sure. No,
now,
absolutely. I never went that far.
If this duck has zero strategy, idiot duck. I could throw a rock over to the other side. It's distracted. It runs over the rock. I just run away from it.
Yeah.
But I got 100 small horses, like these little piranhas that could come at you, right? Think about being in the ocean. It's a similar question to being, would you rather be next to 100 piranhas or a great white shark?
Yeah, I guess.
So that great white might not necessarily be looking to harm me. 50 of those piranhas might not be, but if they're 50 buddies, start going on a rampage, and it's like, they come over at you, and all of a sudden it's game over. You got better odds with a huge duck.
Yeah,
that's my thought.
That's really I never had that perspective, to be honest. I never thought the duck could be just stupid, just always scared of it from the get-go. But that's a really good answer. I'll reevaluate, I suppose.
You don't have to reevaluate.
I need to.
Neurotic.
That's how I'm going to progress as a human being, and even eventually, someday, I'll have a fixed, definitive answer to that question. And that day, it will be partly because of you. So thank you in advance. Funk or punk?
Funk. That's a good one, though. That's a good question.
That's Phil's. Not touring anymore or not recording anymore?
Not touring.
Thank you so very much for your time, man.
My pleasure.
It was great meeting you. I really hope that I can meet you for real someday soon.
Me too.
Keep doing what you do. Keep killing it. You guys out there, everything Cory Wong will be linked in the description box down below. Once more, thank you very much to Wampler FX and Boutique Amp Distribution for making this happen. Everything Wampler will be linked down below as well. You guys take care. Keep making music. Cory, take care. Keep making music. And,
all right. Thanks, man.
See you soon.
All right. Cool.
Nice.